Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic together. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver and my patron at patreon.com/ShivamB. And actually, super special thanks to Quiver because we just came back from Amsterdam and I got to meet them in person and they showed me some of the new products they had coming out. And first off, it is incredibly cool that they've been supporting me for like 6 years, even before I got on this show back when we were on Commander. And meeting John and Romeo were just like phenomenal people, just incredibly kind and chill. And I'm really, really honored to be associated with them. Like you don't get to meet your sponsors very often. And when you do, it's often a business relationship, but these dudes are just really cool. And I'm just really grateful for it. But today I'm really excited because I want to talk about what I just came back from, which is MagicCon Amsterdam, with a gent I met probably before that, but definitely met there, Christian of Chad Magic, which is a really cool UK-based Commander show. And they had me on an episode, and it was rad. At least for me, it was rad. Like, I don't know about you, but killing someone with a 41-41 Finned Horn Elf, it is the most Shivam thing to do.
Spoilers.
Thank you so much. Ooh, I think I caught some con crud. Thank you so much for coming on today, though, man. It's great to see you, and we had a really fantastic weekend.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for inviting me on. And I love talking about Magic. I love talking about cons. But just before we get into it, you mentioned obviously your great relationship with the folks over at Quiver. Did you see the Tamiyo Quiver?
You know what? They ended up giving me one at the end of the show. Like John from Quiver Time ended up getting one and gave it to me because like that's very like you have to be a Pro Tour competitor to get one.
Yeah,
of those.
You do. Yeah.
But and then afterwards I was like, oh, this is huge and it's beautiful. It's stunning looking. But I was going through the Black Lotus area and Quiver had given all the Black Lotus people these insane looking Quiver bolts, which are the small ones that had Ugin facing off with Nicol Bolas.
I've seen them.
And so I ran into a friend in the Black Lotus lounge and he was super hype about the Tamiyo one and I was super hype about the Bolas one. So we traded.
Oh, sweet. Everyone's a winner.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? Like, I get the one I want, he gets the one he wants, and I get to see them both up close, and they were sick. But God, dude, I love this idea of Quivers going out to like Pro Tour winners and like the fact that they make these cool, unique prints and everything. It's so sick.
Yeah, we had one of our team. We'll probably chat in a minute about the various aspects of what we do at Chad Magic, but we do have a competitive team as well as the casual
really?
side. Yeah, we do. Not many people know about it because we've got our fingers in all the pies. But essentially, the guy, it was his first Pro Tour and he lost it. And he was really gutted about it as well, one of the Quivers. But that Tamiyo one, I tried to get my hands on one. There was someone who we knew at the Pro Tour. He wants to hang on to it. But I saw that and I was like, wow. Because it's one of those products, actually, genuinely. And I'm sorry, I suppose your sponsor's loving this, but we're not sponsored by Quiver. But it's probably one of those Magic products that I've purchased, which I was a bit like, I'm not sure how much use I'm going to get out of it. And it is revolutionized like my con experience and everything.
Right? Like, I mean, it's weird. Like, normally I don't give very lengthy sponsor plugs or anything, but real talk, since I got my first Quiver 10 years ago or something when I was in Commander, and they were like super hyped for me to buy one because it's a company of like 3 people. So like, and they listened to the show and my boss was like, and my co-host was like, oh yeah, man, we're going to get you a Quiver. And I finally went and bought one and they sent me an email saying, we're refunding your Amazon thing because we want to give you one. And I'm like, that's crazy. What? But it turns out it genuinely is a really good case. And like being able to, it's both helped me limit how many decks I have active at a time. Yeah. Because I'm like, if I can fit it in like the 2 Quivers I have, that is the max I get. And then I take with me the Bolt, which carries 3 decks, and boom, that is now like a hard limit on how many decks I can bring in. I'm like, this thing is so good, man. I love like real talk. Other people have approached me for like sponsorship things, and I'm like, yeah, but I really like my Quiver. They might not be the most like lucrative sponsor of all time,
Yeah.
but they're a sponsor that I don't feel bad about being sponsored by. Right?
As it's actually an interesting point because as creators, especially, people do sort of want to know what you use, and I think just being like, oh well, these sponsor me, and okay, so I recommend this can be a bit of an interesting one because we've obviously had to go through that as well with sponsors and think about who we're going to go with, and our show's Ultra Pro is the sponsor, but they were interested in like our vision for like what we wanted to do for Magic, because it just to give people a bit of a perspective. I'm assuming most of your listeners are based in North America. In the UK, well, maybe not. Maybe in the UK and Europe, Magic is much more of a growing. It's not as established. It's like the game's developing. People are finding their communities, especially from a Commander perspective in a casual play. And so we wanted someone to sort of go on that journey with us and stuff like that, and look at all aspects, not just like the casual Commander show, but also we've now got a competitive team, and we also have a 1v1 spin-off, so we've kind of diversified that, and that was important to us. But what I was going to say is, when you're working and you're working out sponsors, it's always really important to find something that is actually something you would recommend. Like, right. I would never want to be, there's plenty of things you see, like things for SIM cards or food delivery and things like that. And I'm like, I don't want to just like but just spouting things out because they give you some money. You want to actually be saying, well, actually, this is what I use and recommend.
Right.
And so that's why I recommend Equivalent, even though we're not sponsored, because I got one of, I think about 2 years ago, and I've been trying to tell Wally, who is the other half of Chad Magic. His real name's Christian Adam Magic. There we go. That's how that works.
And what? That blows my mind. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So basically, he finally got one for this con, and he loved it. And he saw it because I don't think it's immediately obvious how like useful it is. But anyway, I don't want to shill for your sponsor for 10 minutes. It was just that like that Tamio.
Well, the thing is, it really is just like it is like the exact size of a thing you need for Magic play. And it's hard. Like, look, we have 10 million things we can get as Magic players. And obviously I still use my backpack, but like, it's just very handy. It's just very, and like my friend, Tim Willoughby, who is from the UK, he just bought a Quiver right before this show as well. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? I would have just given you one. But the thing he had done that was unique was, because he's a guitarist, he took one of his guitar straps, because he's like, look, the Quiver strap sucks. And I'm like, reasonable and fair. And instead he put his favorite guitar strap on the Quiver, so now it's like properly like weighted and balanced.
So doing that. That is a great tip. That is, and I was just
like, holy crap, that's genius, because a guitar strap obviously is made to hold a damn guitar and just like hold it on your shoulder in a comfortable way for hours. And I'm like, I don't know how I never thought of this.
Magic players love customizing things as well. And I think one of the aspects of that is with a guitar strap, you be able to get like a wider one, and then you can start putting your pins on it and stuff like that. Exactly. I'm going to come back on this podcast and it's going to be like sponsored by Gibson or something like that.
And you're going to have a fully tricked out like strap. It's going to be sick.
So Gibson, Quiver, if anyone wants to send me anything, obviously that's fine. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it because that Tamio one is beautiful, and I will be trying to track one down. So if you've got any listeners who've got one for trade, hit me up.
Yeah, look, man, like I would have kept it, but the Bolus, and like there's something about the fact that that's like a storyline that I absolutely love. Yeah. Bolus versus Ugin. The fact that they're staring at each other like almost like Street Fighter, where there's like, the character select screen, they're just staring each other down. I'm like, oh, I like Tamio, but you know what? I'm definitely going to use this one. And also, it would fit in my bag a lot easier when I was going.
The world would be boring if we all liked exactly the same things. And, and like some people like different art and different styles, different colors of Magic, different, whatever. And that's what makes it fun. Yeah.
My only worry is that, like, I know the Quiver guy went to quite some trouble to get that one for me, so I hope he's just not mad. But I'll talk to John.
Well, we've balanced it off by talking about how good the products are.
Yeah, for like 10 minutes. Yeah. But yeah, man, like, so let me try to rein us back in here a step. So the reason that our mutual companion there, Daniel of what the hell, Leyline Nexus, and also who's been like on this show like twice before and will probably be on at least once more. Delightful gentleman, Netherlands guy, and he's putting together this thing called Leyline Nexus, which is a group of it's almost like a talent agency for artists and content creators that can then be used to talk to, I guess, shows and stuff to get us all show up at places. But the minor upside that's only really beneficial to folks like you and me is that he puts us together to make content. And like, I got invited to join you guys to do a recording at the con, which is not something I've ever done before because I'm always so wary about the noises and like just the being able to find a spot and whatever. And now that they have a place for content creators to be able to do a thing, that's really cool. It makes me want to bring like podcasting equipment to try to do stuff. But yeah, so like you invited me to jump on a game.
Yeah.
And I, like an idiot, had ended up double booking and running back and forth. But it was super fun, and I loved it, and I had a great time. But what was your Amsterdam like?
So, like a blur, like it often is. And this one, is amazing because we got there in one piece with our bags. There's actually a bit of Chad Magic lore around us having really bad travel experiences. The first Amsterdam con we went to, we had 4 flight cancellations in a row. We ended up having to get a taxi from Manchester to London, which is about 4 hours. Yeah. Well, the airline company paid for us to get a taxi. So they were saying you can get the flight from Luton the next day. So I hatched a plan saying, right, because this was our third flight. I won't tell the full story because I think I've told it before on a few things, but essentially we had 3 flight cancellations in a row. We'd looked at flying to Paris to get the bus, loads of different stuff. Anyway, I hatched a plan. I was like, well, get the airline to pay for us to go to London, but then we won't get the Luton flight. We'll just get the Eurostar. So we arrived like very sweaty, very tired, been traveling for like 48 hours to a place that is less than an hour flight from where I live, by the way.
That's insane.
Yeah, and we got there. Then when we went to Vegas, and this was where I got married in Vegas, the hotel we were staying at ran out of running water.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Where the hell did you stay? The desert?
The Sahara.
No, but the actual Sahara, not the hotel. Yeah. It's like out in the sand somewhere.
Yeah, and then to complete the trifecta, when we went to Chicago, our bag didn't make it, and our bag arrived 5 minutes before we left the hotel to come home. So,
oh my God,
bad things happen in threes, and I think, touch wood, I'm not really even superstitious, but I've just got to be for this because I don't want to happen again. We've had some terrible travel experiences, but this time we all got there in one go, and I booked us to stay on a farm for 20 of us. Because one of the things that I'm really big on, and this is I'd probably say Chad Magic probably isn't the best Commander YouTube channel. We're probably not the best competitive team, and we're probably not the best spin-off 1v1. There are loads of people out there doing amazing stuff. What we are, and what I'm really proud of to say is, and I don't think this exists anywhere else, we are the best community on the ground. Like, actually, people, like, there's so many of us. There's only 20 we're able to come, but our community group is like maybe like 60 to 80 people who actually meet up and play Magic.
Let's stop for a second and can you back up and actually explain what Chad Magic is and how did this come about? Because like that seems crazy.
So originally, this is going back years and years and years now. My best friend Wally, also known as Adam, who but Wally's his stage name, shall we say. And we've been best friends for a very long time. He was best man at my wedding. But years ago, I've been playing Magic and I've been trying to get him into Magic. And weirdly, I'd got into it by myself. So it wasn't that someone had got me into Magic. I actually had Jewels of the Planeswalkers on Xbox when I was a kid because it was free. And I rediscovered it as an adult when I had like more adult money. So I could actually like buy cards and stuff like that.
Fact.
And so I said to him, because at the time there was nobody in the UK doing what I wanted the vision to be. There was people making content, but nobody was making what we now know as like the normal Commander gameplay sort of format, where you'll have a top-down camera, you'll have a side shot, and perhaps a wide shot. Nobody was doing that, and I wanted to really champion Magic in the UK and Europe and bring this game that I love to other people. So eventually, Wally had to do some work abroad for a little while, and he came back. And once he'd come back, we set out to do it. And originally, we actually set out to be like the bad boys of Magic. We were going to like have a cigar in like a hot tub or stuff like that and be talking all this. And we ended up being the most family friendly like community show. Like, we don't swear. We don't do any, no naughty words or anything like that. Nothing like risque. It's just friends playing Magic.
That's
And
really funny.
And then what that sort of developed into, because as a content creator, lots of people chase the number. And our biggest win has actually not been hitting like a good level of subscribers or views or some of the experiences. The best thing that's happened is we've had a real change in people's lives because the community, the local community of our LGS and slightly wider, has had something to galvanize around and has something to like build on. And this is what I was kind of saying is like, we might not be the best at any other things, but I think that this is what we're the best at. So we actually had like a meeting with everybody. I rented out a whole pub. Right, Wally and I rented out a whole pub, and we were able to fill it with our community.
That's crazy.
And just talk about what we've done and what we've achieved and everything like that. And we're so lucky to have people who want to be a part of that and want to be a part. So when you see photos of like the Chad Magic group and stuff like that, there'll be like 20, 30 people each time. And you won't even have all of us. Not everyone can go. Some are casual, some are competitive. And I really want to bring everybody together under that love of that game. It's not really about like, I want loads of people to watch our content. Obviously I do though, but it's like, that's not the big win. The big win is helping people feel like they're part of something. And I think Magic can bring us together in that way.
That's an incredible thing to do. Like it's one thing to be like a content creator, but it's hard for us especially to be able to like create a community, because when you ask a lot of people, their community is the idea of like, oh yeah, it's my Discord or it's my patrons or it's the people in chat or whatever. It's another to be like, oh, these are people who we see physically face to face, as in we have created an actual in-person community. And that's kind of like, that is an extreme challenge, because like obviously the internet means that our audience is all over the place. Like I was talking in Amsterdam, I met a gent who's like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of yours and I live in Malta. And there's another person like, I live in Latvia. I'm like, I'm not going to have an in-person community with Malta and Latvia.
I'll go to Malta and Latvia with you. Like they're great places. I went to Malta last year. It was very sunny. The food was great. I mean,
I live in California. I don't need sun and good food. I've checked, but it's like, that's a remarkable achievement, because I remember I was poking through your Instagram when you were posting pictures from the con, and you were like, oh yeah, and here's our crew, and I see just like 40 people in the picture. I'm like, I thought there were 2 of them. What the hell is going on? You rented a farmhouse?
Yeah, we had a farm. I will say this: I don't recommend 20 blokes sharing a farm together with 2 bathrooms. I'm not recommending that for anybody. But when we had a candlelight Lorwyn draft on the first night, there was people jamming game. Yeah, it was brilliant. I built a very strong Kithkin deck. Limited's really my passion. I love Limited. I built a Kithkin deck, and it was great fun. And there was guys jamming games, people were jamming Commander, people were jamming CDH, people were jamming Pauper, Modern, and it was just, these people were just all coming together for the love of the game and making trades and just having a great time. And that for me is the real reward. And I think actually you mentioned that Dan from Leyline, I think he's got a bit of the same bug, but obviously for him it's about bringing creators together. For me, I love seeing creators and stuff like that, but I just always want to do the right thing for my community, because when you can actually have positive impacts on people's lives, however small it might be, everybody needs to feel like they're part of something or that they belong somewhere. And and this is crazy, because our vision was to sit in a hot tub with a cigar talking about how we've just made this filthy play in a game of
and
Commander.
Not making a safe space for lovely people to come and hang out and feel like they can belong to something.
It's just crazy. So we have a Commander YouTube channel, which is our kind of flagship channel. We have a competitive team now of 15 people. We're not like the top level yet, but we've got guys getting better all the time. We've now got guys making the Pro Tour. We're just getting a bit further on.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, man? Having a pro team and having anybody make the Pro Tour, that already is like, that's a real thing. Like, it is not a just trivial walk in the park to get on the Pro Tour. Like, that is a real thing. So that's like something to be proud of. That's crazy.
It's the goal for a lot of Magic players, actually, is to get there. I know we're obviously going to talk about casual Magic today, but
we talk about every Magic, man. This is about Magic casually. It's chill.
Understood. And then we've also now got a spin-off when they're really happy, because they just celebrated 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm not a big fan of like numbers and stuff like that, but I think it's a big achievement, especially for competitive focused Magic players, because the audience is largely Commander players for Magic content. And they're doing an amazing job. And everybody has learned these skills like recording and audio and filming and all this type of thing from scratch, you know, and there's some value in doing that as well. So if you've got anybody who listens who is, you know, aspiring content creator who wants to try and think, well, I can't do that, I can't do this. Honestly, with the internet out there, we started filming in Wally's kitchen on like 2 old phones. And I think I had a DSLR camera that was like 15 years old. And so if you go back and look at our original recording, but there was a charm to it. You know, it's like, it really feels like kitchen table magic. And now we're in our own studio, and like we're able to control a lot more things.
I mean, I saw the equipment you had in Amsterdam, man. That's not just casual, relaxed cell phones. Those are like professional cameras. Oh, yeah. It must have been a real challenge to fly all that stuff to Amsterdam.
It was Amsterdam was fine. We've taken it to the US a few times, and but we generally keep our cameras on. So this is why, again, I'm going to plug Quiver again. Quiver's so useful because we've got loads of cameras in our rucksacks, in our backpacks. Sorry. Yeah. And so we need the place to keep the magic on. So genuinely, we do end up taking a lot of stuff with us, and we like to do it. But we've actually recorded some fantastic games at cons, and it's one of the few opportunities we get as creators, to UK-based creators, to work with our friends across North America and beyond. So, you know, the likes of yourself came on. We love working with Kuro, who the episode's with, Kuro Hitsuki. And
you know, a shout out to Kuro, by the way, because like for any number of reasons, your third person had to drop the game, and I was running around like a madman in the creator area saying, "Who can I get to do a fourth?" And I was like, "Can you drop your game and come join me to record this?" And I no, that would be impolite to my players. I'm like, fair, I shouldn't have asked. And the Kuro just like walks in ambiently. I'm like, "Bro, I need a fourth," and he's like, "Done and done." He didn't ask any more questions. He just followed me, and I'm like, "I just need a guy," and he's like, "I'm here to record whatever, whenever. Let's go."
A good friend of the show. Guy. I think that's his third time on our show, actually.
So I had no idea. I was just like, I just need a body. Please come.
Yeah, no, but I mean, and what a body you got. You know, the best guy in the business, Kuro. We love you. You're a big friend of ours and a big friend of the show. So thank you very much. But yeah, it's one of our few chances to actually work with some of the creators. I remember for me, a really big moment was in Barcelona. Going back, we got to record with Gavin. And that was the moment as a creator where it felt like we'd made a big step towards what we're doing. Because obviously there's probably few people who are busier than Gavin at MagicCon.
Holy crap. Yeah. Like Gavin and I have a standing arrangement to take a picture together and also to do like some like at least an unknown event. But like I can track the way it's gone from me and him can sit and chat and have a relaxed conversation, even just NBD, like in the middle of a hallway, we can just stop and talk about work or whatever, to now he will be running that way and I'll be running this way and we'll be like, "Oh brother, hey," and then poosh, like and just never see him again. Oh yeah. Like it's just,
that's how it is.
They work him to death. And I'm just going to protest right now. Like Gavin does not get paid nearly high enough for the amount of work that he does for Wizards. It is ridiculous. And, I don't know what they're paying him, but it's not enough. That's all I'm saying. Like
it's like a whole lifestyle for him, isn't it?
He's a department. Like I was talking to him, bro's like first off. So check this insane trajectory of the last 5 weeks or something. He flies to Papergen in Italy, then flies to England to do that weird MTG pop-up thing that they did in London or whatever. Then flies to Amsterdam for the MagicCon. Flies from MagicCon to San Diego Comic-Con. Flies from San Diego Comic-Con to Gen Con. I'm like, are you out of your gourd? Like, what are you doing? That's cool, but we're not 20 anymore, man. We can't do this. Like,
do you know what? I'm just thinking about it. You know, in terms of the lifestyle, going around the world, traveling, playing Magic and doing stuff. I mean, the thing there is, when does he have time to actually do the day job? You know,
that's exactly what he said to me. He was like, "I don't know when I'm actually going to do my job." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro." He's like, "Yeah, I sit there for like 2 hours from 1 to 2 in the morning in the hotel room, and I just do the card design crap." And I'm like, "Bro, this is not going to." You're going to kill yourself. Please don't.
Yeah,
do around for a while.
Getting him on for the first time, that was in Barcelona. I remember we were talking about it because we're Doctor Who fans, especially Wally. Wally's a big Doctor Who fan, Whovian, and Gavin was wearing his Doctor Who suit at the time, and then we were bonding over that, and then we just said, would you like to come on the show? We'd love to have you, and we know you're very busy, so we won't be offended if you say no or you can't. And I got a message from him at 4 a.m. on my Instagram, and he said, "Yeah, screw it, I'll do it." And I woke Wally up because I was like, I couldn't not tell him. And we just couldn't get back to sleep. We were so excited. So, I would also say MagicCons are great, but not for your sleep schedule. But
no,
if you want to do everything you want to do in MagicCon, first of all, you won't, and secondly, you will not sleep much trying.
Yeah, every time someone's like, "Oh man, I scheduled like 6 events and have all these tickets," I'm like, "Bro, first off, you are not remembering how insanely long Magic events take, and then also how big this hall is and how much running you're gonna have to do to get from hither to thither." Like,
you're getting your steps in. You're getting your steps in. Yeah, don't be worried about your steps. You get them.
Pokemon Go was like, "You walked 60 kilometers last week." I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, I sure did, buddy. That's a lot of kilometers.
My watch was beeping me saying, "You need to rest." So like that's what it is. But I think that's the case. And, obviously as content creators, I want to check the privilege here because, other people might not have a way to not have as much to do at MagicCons, but we do tend to be quite busy, and it's like, and we get to do these lucky experiences, but it is also a lot of work as well.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not but that's the different. It's like, look, I was in the video games industry for a very long time. And in the video games industry, there's obviously the giant show that we do, the trade show E3, where all the big video games come out and all the the consoles come out and everything. And people are like, "Oh, you must have so much fun." I'm like, "Are you in?" No, that's like pure work from like door open to door closed. And MagicCon reminds me a lot of, from the perspective of a content creator, it reminds me a lot of the last few E3s that where the general public was allowed in. And so the general public would line up to be like, "Oh, I'm going to play the new Assassin's Creed game, or I'm going to play a Halo or whatever." And the rest of us are just trying to grind out stories and get interviews and do all the work things. And like when we go to a MagicCon, people are like, "Yeah, are you going to do any events? I'm going to sign up for like this 2-headed giant thing or do Mystery Draft Rope." I'm like, I am working. Like, I have to talk to people. I have to, network with people. I have to go and ensure that my show is relevant for the purposes of me getting money for business things. So like, there's a weird juxtaposition because I don't want people to feel like I'm ignoring them or I'm trying to brush them off. But at the same time, I'm like, I need to do work.
Yeah.
And this is my work weekend. So
one of the guys
with this weird balance, right?
One of the guys who from the UK, he actually didn't play any games of Magic at the con itself. Only in the lobby.
Yeah, this is the second MagicCon I've ever played physical games of Magic that were not in an unknown event at.
Yeah.
And the last one was Amsterdam, because in America I just can't. And people are like, I mean, this sounds super arrogant, but it's genuinely true. It's like if I sit down to try to play, people will line up in a corner and start to ask for pictures or cards, drop their playmat on top of mine and ask me to sign it. And like, it becomes a very challenging experience. And I'm not saying like, and I get it. I know what my privilege is. And people want to talk to me as the coolest thing in the world. Like that is I don't have a job without these people. And I would much rather not play and just be able to meet everybody, give them all the proper time, give them a respect, than insult the 3 people I'm sitting with and like just short shrift whoever's come up to see me. I don't know if they're going to see me again, but I want them to have a good experience and enjoy the meeting with me. Right. And like, that's what LobbyCon, like I'll play at the lobby. Who cares? If I don't play whereas in Europe, all the European players are like, "Oh, like I'll be sitting here at my signing with a pen in my hand and it says Shivam will sign anything." And European people were like, "Please forgive me. I don't want to bother you. I'm so sorry, but would you mind terribly if I ask you? I know you don't want to. If you don't have to, it's okay. But I would really appreciate if you would would you sign?" I'm like, Jesus Christ, dog. It even says I am signing literally everything. And when I sit down to play, they're super polite and they will just be like, "Oh, he seems to be busy." I'm like,
I will say,
that's crazy.
If these are British people you're talking about, there's a British thing, whereas like the politer you are, the less you know someone, and it's when you're actually horrible to each other that you're best friends. And like,
yes, 100%.
So Wally and I really hot. But it's interesting you say that, because I actually have the same thing when I go to like the USA cons, because we have like quite a lot of fans in America, and as you said, that's the best. And I would so much rather be talking to people who were fans than just playing a game for it. It's actually not as enjoyable. It gives you energy to to speak to people who are really excited. I can't remember which con we are, and one of the guys, he made tokens of us, that he'd hand drawn,
cool
and
stuff.
it's on my fridge. And I was like, he was like, "You're going to play with it?" I said, "Honestly," I'm going to put it up in my house. I was like, I would love to play with it. If you want me to play with it, I will do. But I actually love this so much. And he made one of me and one of Wally, and it was just like,
it's like that's the sort of thing you frame, not play with.
Hand drawn it. But I had that in the European one when I was so a good friend of ours, Spice 8 Rack, and they were just absolutely their queue was just crazy. It wasn't even a queue. We just sat down.
It was literally Spice stopped moving and 45 people immediately emerged from nowhere. Like Spice sat down and there was a lengthy queue out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, this is what it's like when I'm in the States. Or like when the Prof walks in. Prof walks in 10 seconds later and it's just immediate, like just glomming.
Presumably he can't walk the hall.
No,
now.
He can't. He's not allowed to anymore.
Yeah. There would be a mob, I would have thought.
Well, I mean, because that's the thing. Like the only, look, me and him have been friends since before we were content creators, since forever. Like we know each other's families, right? Like we were friends. And the only way I got to hang out with him was literally we went to breakfast like half an hour away from the con where nobody would be. Because otherwise, if we tried to go to coffee somewhere near the show, it would have been just a mob.
Yeah.
Because he can come for his signing, he goes in, he gets his security guard, walks into his event, and then has to leave. He doesn't get to play Magic at a MagicCon because he's hit that tier, and that sucks. Like when I was on the CAG, I was close to that tier, but it's like I would rather just sacrifice that segment of being able to play because, like, whatever, I can play Magic anywhere. And I would much rather talk to people and get more people in and be able to enjoy the conversation with more people than be able to sit down with only 3 people for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the people who I want to spend my time with when I'm at them is like my friends who haven't seen them, and also people who are excited to speak to me. And if I'm always if someone's a fan of the show and they will always let you know. People will come up to you and chat to you and things like that. We tend not to do meet and greets because trying to keep us still and together in the same time is really, really difficult. But we spent, our base is always the Creator Central bit, and so we're always there. So like I would encourage anyone, if they were ever at events, come hang in Creator Central for a little bit. You never know who you might see. You never know who might be there. And usually we pack some stickers or tokens or little things to give to people. And so I'm always available to do that. And that's what gives me energy. And then in the evenings, we sort of split that between, obviously, as a creator, you've got different like responsibilities. Some of those responsibilities are to your people you've traveled with and your crew. And I've talked about community, but we also need to, as you said, like you spend time a little bit with sponsors and just doing that part of things. And that's what can make it feel a little bit like work, even though that is a nice place to be. And a lot of creators would love to be in that position. So I'm not trying to be privileged, but is what it is.
I mean, look, I respect that. And I fully understand that. I'm not trying to flaunt it, but it is also like, look, the Quiver Time guys are in Romania and far, far away from anywhere that I live. This was the first time they'd gone to a MagicCon, and they were like, we want to speak to you, talk business, whatever. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do that because this is legitimately important to my career. And like, I remember when I was a younger journalist, I'd be going to E3 and stuff, and like my bosses would be going to dinner with Hideo Kojima or like Shigeru Miyamoto, and I'm like, oh man, and I'd be like super jealous of like nerd things because I'm like, you guys are going to get to go out with all these cool creators. It's like, later on, as I matured, I'm like, oh no, they're going because this is like nuts and bolts business deal. These are not fun dinners. These are work dinners. I mean, they're probably good food, but you're still going to be like, hey, you didn't review my game very well. What do we need to talk about? Or like, other things. But it's like, there's just this weird balance. And like, it's hard for people who might not necessarily understand the other level of what we have to do to not feel slighted when we're like, oh, look, I can't go out with you or I can't do the thing with you because I have these responsibilities. And then they see you going out with people that they think are just like your friends and hanging out and whatever. And like, oh, what? I'm not good enough to hang out with you. And it's like, well, no, these people are paying me. Ergo, I need to make sure that they're happy enough to continue doing so. But I mean, that's what happened when MagicCon is a combination trade show and consumer show, right? Like it's and the trade show here is like, I am the object on sale. I need to make sure I look good to all the people. It's weird. It's a weird feeling, but it's because of my various experience in the history of industry and entertainment. I get it. So like, I can sit and talk to somebody and not try to like, there's a frustration where when you're a content creator or something, that you start to weigh every relationship you have transactionally, in the sense of like, oh, I'm talking to these people. I want them on my show, but I'm also like, they're really cool and I just want to chill and chat with them. But I don't want to feel like I'm only chatting with them because they want to be on because I want them on my show. I'm chatting with them because I think they're cool people. And
Yeah.
but then also I don't want them to sit there and have that thing in the back of their head. Like, is he just talking to me because he wants access to whoever my more famous friend is? Because that's also happened to me. And that's weird. And that's also just an unpleasant feeling. But it's also like, look, this is, if you can't navigate that, you get to a tier of content creation where it's very hard to, like, I can't talk to Josh and Jimmy very much anymore, or Olivia and whatever, because of the fact that they're dealing at a stratosphere that I am not in, of like Hollywood actors and famous musicians and movie stars and stuff. And that's cool. I love that. Great. But it's also like, it means that if I'm talking to them and I've got this show of interview stuff going on, there's always going to be that little bug in the back of the head, like, oh, it's Shivam. I've known him for decades, but is he trying to get me to introduce him to Post Malone or whatever?
I think that's sad, and I've seen this as well. And I think that maybe, even if I'm being completely honest, it's you can have good intentions in sort of trying to sort of snowball in. Like, you're not necessarily trying to snowball into a bigger crate, but it might just be even getting you on. Someone might be like thinking, oh, I'd love to get you on. That'd be amazing. And their end goal might not be to get to know you. It might be to get to. So this isn't even about getting to like a different creator.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like, I think, because I'm trying to. We've been doing this for about a medium length of time compared to some other creators now. So I still remember what it's like to be growing, and I remember I probably did a few of my interactions wrong, and I had good intentions, and I've never been a case of this person can get us to this person or whatever. That's never my intent.
You might not be obviously thinking that, but there's some tier of that somewhere.
Well, I think what it is I think once you get to a specific like level of creator, and this isn't us, but just there are people, and there's creators in the UK who will be at this level and across the world. Is I think it's probably happened to you before, so you've got your guard up a little bit about it, and so you're like, is this person just doing this? So what I do now is I'm just myself, and if you like me, you might like me. If you don't like me, you don't like me. I always want to get people on the show, but I'm not straight away, oh, I'd like to get you on the show. I am a little bit more like that when I'm working with creators who are starting their journey.
Yes.
And helping people grow and promote people and things like that. Because I think when it comes to that, it's like, we recently had a creator on, and she's on the start of her magic journey, and I messaged, and I just said, I've been looking at your content. I think it's really good. I've been listening to what you've been saying and the way that you build decks. I think you'd be a really good candidate for the show. If you would like to come on, we'd love to have you, but I understand if not. Just let us know if you're interested in that. And I think that it's maybe okay to be a little bit more direct around that when you're working with people who are growing them like upwards, if it's just like a message out the blue. But I've always found like a good response the other way when someone's growing and wants to come onto things. It always seems to work pretty well. But I have had times when I've been like a little bit direct to people and saying, I'd love to have you on the show and this would be great. And it's not been well received. It's been received a little bit more like, well, I don't know you yet. Yeah. But now I'm just me. I'm just here for a good time. My community, in person and online, especially in person, is fantastic. And so I don't really mind if the hot name of the moment is like thinking, oh, well, I'm too busy to go on your show or whatever. That's fine. That's okay.
That said, if anybody knows Amber Glenn, I would desperately find any way to get her on my show. Let me know. But that's just because I live at the intersection of Olympic fan and Magic fan, and I don't know how many of us there are, but I would love to talk to a figure skater. But that being said, you're absolutely right. Like, there's this just, like, I love introducing people to new content creators if I think they're cool and if I think there's something interesting. And sometimes, I don't know, I've just been really introspective about this because lately, because I'm winding the show down, I'm planning to bring it to a close at 350, which is I think like 11 episodes from now or something.
Oh,
And
wow.
or maybe I don't know, 350, 360, something wibbly around there, but somewhere a nice number where I've now done this for a good hefty chunk of time and I can call it a day. But like I've been just really introspective about what it means to have this kind of weight to be able to bring people and catapult them in front of tens of thousands of like Magic fans or introduce content to things. And there's this weird responsibility that comes along with it. Like I want to make sure the person I'm introducing is not just going to end up being like a milkshake duck scumbag at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or that they're not just using me to catapult them to somewhere higher than me. But that's also fine. Like whatever, dude. Like I get it. I just want to have an interesting conversation. And but
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say you've been nice enough to invite me on today, and I think that what's always prevalent or really telling of a type of creator that you're working with is if you were to give them a minute, what would they want to talk about? And I'm going to ignore the part about the quiver because that was just a bit of a warm up.
That was just funny.
But when you started asking me about Chad Magic, I actually used that moment to talk about bringing people together and community. Yes. I think if someone starts talking about who they want to work with or name dropping or stuff like that, it's a little bit of a different conversation. And so for me, it's great to meet cool people. There's loads of cool people in the UK at the moment. We've got the Magic's really branching out, to people who are in the celebrity space and musicians and actors and gamers from other part, and that's fantastic. And I love hanging out with them. They're really, really good fun. But genuinely, my favorite moment of MagicCon was just I remember when everyone was arriving on the Thursday to the farm, and I was just sat there outside, just chilling with a drink, just watching people arrive, greeting everyone, hugging, then watching them go inside and then, start playing Magic. And these people who wouldn't know each other are brought together. And that for me,
such a good feeling, man.
And just no one needs to say anything about like, oh, and I get nice messages saying thank you for putting this, thank you for bringing it all together. But people just want to be part of something. And I think in this day and age, especially as an adult, sometimes it's difficult to make friends, to find your people, 100%. And that's what I want to create. So if given the platform to do so, which you have done today, hopefully that can inspire people to actually go out and be like, oh, I'd like to do that. So sometimes you get messages in like things being like, oh, my community doesn't play this game that I want to play. It could be a format. Say, for the argument's sake, it could be like, oh, no one fires draft where I'm at. And I'd be like, well, you've got to be the change you want to see. If communities are built from something, you just got to start the ball rolling and show that people there's something to be a part of. And you wouldn't believe how much it snowballs. We've got like my group chats and stuff like that is just too much to handle. I have to mute them sometimes because there's so much, but it snowballs into community. So it's great talking about the content creation side because that's probably, again, it's on my mind at the moment.
I know, but they're like,
but we're having a real conversation, aren't we, about the things that are on our mind at the moment and how we feel about things. And I can tell that there's a bit of an air of that around the content creator community of like, what does it mean to be a content creator? What does it mean to do things? What am I doing it for? And what would I like to see out of Magic? And what would I like to see out of my community? And I think that these conversations are happening in our heads. So it's maybe good to talk about them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I was talking to somebody about this very thing. Like we were walking through the hall going to the Canlander meeting, and Canlander is a thing that started with like 15 people in Victoria, Canada, and now in Amsterdam there's 75 Europeans getting together to play Canlander upstairs in a random hall next to the stage or whatever.
There's a couple of our guys will be really happy that we've mentioned Canlander, by the way. Really happy, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just like it's just an entirely impromptu community that has sprung up. And if we have the chance to build a community and share cool things, and like I talked to all of my friends, like my friends who are creating mini formats like Clover or like all these other formats that exist that are just really cool, tiny little like sub formats that give you a little community to build your stuff around, because that's what it's about. It's about the community. It's about the gathering. It's about the idea of bringing people together, because you said a very salient thing, which is as adults, it's hard to make friends. And Magic is like a built-in grease to be able to make that conversation easier, because we sit down, you and I don't need to share the same language, but we can sit down and play a deck and start to have a good time. And by the end of it, we can at least start a friendship or build a friendship. And even just having this, like I was talking to somebody it was their first MagicCon, and I was like, isn't it wild that you walk into that building and there's 26,000 people who like the same thing you do, speak the same language you do, and are totally on board with whatever excitement you have for any cool thing you see. And like when you feel that and you walk, like I was walking to a random booth with Tim Willoughby because we were just going to go buy some, because I'm trying to get some inventions to finish off a collection or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this Black Lotus that's in a slab, and we start telling stories, and me and Tim and this random guy just start sharing stories of all the crazy weirdo cards we've seen that have been slabbed. And like, oh my God, I opened a night, like some guy came into my store with a shoebox full of like power, all this. And you're just like, I don't know this person. We're never going to know him. And at the end of the conversation, he was like, he's like, I feel like I should thank you for that, but I don't know. And I'm like, well, hope you have a great rest of your con. But it's just like I was waiting in line for the Stardew Valley thing. At the con, there was a little Stardew Valley lady who was a really, honestly terrible experience for a secret lair pop-up. But the more relevant part is I was standing next to this crew from this man and woman who are Argentinians from like Italy or live in Europe or somewhere. And like they were like, holy crap, we can't believe you're just standing next to us. And I was like, well, we're stuck here in this line for an hour, so I'm going to just tell you stories and we're going to have a good time. And they were like, it's so cool to be able to just see people and appreciate all of this stuff and know that we're all like just Magic players, and it's fun and it's exciting, right? Like well,
I think you've hit the nail on the head for yourself, by the way, because when we played our game, I think you were probably having your most fun. Actually, you were enjoying your 40-40 Horn Elfin and things like that. But I think you were actually probably your most happy when you were storytelling,
right?
So I mean, we've not even. I think we've mentioned 2 Magic cards since we've been on the pod today. But that's the thing, isn't it? Is like if you're a storyteller and what you love is storytelling, and where you feel like you love to tell these things that have happened. And I think that's why maybe people love listening to what you've got to say, is because you're a good storyteller. But that passion came across in our game, and when we do release it, and I'm sure you'll be able to get it. It won't be for a little while because it takes a little while to edit these things. But the stories you tell are actually the game is going on, but we're also having our separate kind of like window into your life and your experiences, which made it like a really great experience for us. And we felt like we got to know you really well, even though it's just in that short space of time.
The wild thing is that's not even for content. That's just how I am.
That's what I mean. It's just natural. And this is the thing where I'm like with like trying to get people together and bring people to be part of it. I can't help it. It's in my nature. It's what I want to do. And so I think it's almost like, that's why I think this content creation thing is like, I want to build a community. You might want to build a community as well, but obviously and tell good stuff. But you might be like a real good storyteller. You want to tell stories, and that's innately part of what you want to do. And then eventually you'll find the audience. And I think that's what content creation and doing that type of thing is for me. And that's where the real content creators get the following, and they find the real tough knit community, is by finding what it is they're good at and what they want to do, and then the right people come along, and they're the ones who are really excited to see you and spend time with you and listen to the stories and enjoy them.
Man, you encapsulated it perfectly. That sentence might be the entirety of my career, actually, which is just like, I want to tell stories. I have found a place I can tell stories. People like to listen to my stories. Suddenly my listenership gets bigger. I find new platforms to tell stories on, and I'm just still telling the same stories because I'm having a grand old time telling stories. And that is literally 100% the entire reason I even have this show in the first place.
Well, if you are winding things down, that would what I'd say would be the main thing, is just make sure you've got another place to.
Oh, I have like 3. I have 3 podcasts.
Okay.
This is just like, this is the one where it's been going the longest and it's the most work to do. And I have some new projects coming out that are going to take a large chunk of my time. So I was like, I can't float 3 podcasts.
That is
3
a lot.
podcasts is a lot.
That is a lot of podcasts.
That's a lot of work. So it's like, okay, look, if I need to start like making time for these other things that I'm going to be doing, then something has to go. And I think I've done everything I want to do out of this show. Like, I've talked to everybody I want to. I've shared so many stories, had so many great times. And I'm like, I think I would feel okay calling it a day, feel satisfied with what I've accomplished. and like it's gotten me everything I wanted, and now I can move on to all these new cool things, that these doors that have been opened for me through this work, right? But like it would be bad for me to neglect those projects in favor of continuing to just do this, right? Like if the whole goal is to get me into a place where I can do cool things, I should do those cool things. But
yeah, I mean, that's that. Do you know what that is? That there's a beauty in that as well, because a lot of artists don't know when the painting's finished. You know,
right? That's the thing. Content creators, especially, we don't know when things end. You don't know how to end a thing. It's okay for a thing to come to a close and be like,
yeah,
you know, I did a thing, I called it a day, and I did it on my own terms. It's got an arc and it's got a complete body of work. Like at some point you have to put the book down, you have to put the essay down, you have to put the painting down and say like, I could tinker with this for the rest of time, but I have to call it, or I will never be able to move on to the next one I want to do.
From us, from a community perspective, that because we're not planning on winding down or anything, but what we're looking to do is within our community, within our local community, is find people who want to develop their skill sets or achieve things that we can help achieve them. Like, is there somebody who wants to learn how to edit a video? Is there somebody who wants to present an episode with us, or is there someone who wants to do those type of things? And can we help them develop? And we've got like some what the guy was talking about who's really into Canlander. When we first met him, he's like a kid, he's a teenager, and he was like a bit nervous and everything like that. Now when we have people on the show, he's sitting them down, he's like, listen, let me tell you how we do things here. And he's like really come out of his shell. And these are the things that like really make it worthwhile. So I suppose it's right. There's always a right time to like call something a day or to wind things down. But it's exciting to hear that you've got like these new projects coming in their place. So, you know, one door closes, another one opens. I feel like I'm talking in metaphors and similes.
Yeah, no, but I get it. I understand what you're saying. That said, we should, before we call it a day, let's talk a smidge about the game that we had, because it is funny as hell. So I was playing my Minskin Boo deck, which literally is just the what is random piles of deck crap on my desk.
I'm not having this
deck. And like you did not believe me that like, oh yeah, this beat up Taiga and these Portal 3 Kingdoms lands are just sitting around on my desk.
The first thing you said was, this is just the random stuff I had lying around, and the first card that hit the table was a Tiger. You still find it funny. We were thinking about, we were saying that we'll help your wife clear out your desk while you're away and stuff like that.
I can't turn the camera right now, but if I could, like I moved to my new office. If I showed you my old office, there is, and I am not joking, almost 1,000 cards in different piles on my pile next to my computer. And I've taken pictures of this stuff before, and it literally is the most ridiculous thing in the world, where I'll just be like, oh, what's this? Hey, look, it's my underground sea. Why is that here? I must have had a thought for it at some point. I don't know. It's so dumb. It is unbelievably dumb. In the room behind this is where all my magic is, and it's unsorted giant long boxes of like, once the pile on my desk becomes long enough, I will shove it all unsorted into a box and forget about it for like a decade, until I'm like building a deck and I need to find a random axe and run into like all of these one ring crap that I've just got sitting around. It's like, I should sell this someday. And I'm like, nope, never.
Well, you know what? Genuinely would love to come and help you sort it. I think that would be really, really, really good. I love going through old cards, because I sort my collection straight away. So like you can be
that
like,
must be nice.
So you could say, I'm looking for this bulk draft uncommon from like Theros or something like that, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll just go and find it.
So here's the real insane thing: is like there was a point where I had like over, let's say 100,000 cards just from random bulk and whatever. And my friends came and staged an intervention, came to my house, helped me sort out, keep all the rares and throw all the bulk trash away. And I gave away pallets, and I am not even joking, pallets and pallets of cards to my friends Z and some other folks. And I was just like, here's a ready built Magic collection. Happy birthday. I'd just take it out of my site. And now I'm like looking for one random card from, I don't know, whatever, Crimson Vow or something. And I'm like, oh, I gave it away. But the box that I opened that's labeled Crimson Vow is like where I shoved all of my Modern Horizons 3 rares. And I'm like, I don't need this stupid Johnny and Ocelot Pride. I'm looking for this damn uncommon from friggin' Crimson Vow. And it's like, and like my friends are just like, Shivam,
where's the 113 that comes in tapped or whatever? You know, like, it's like,
right? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I just need this stupid vampire that just like drains people for one or some crap. It is a genuine problem. But like literally, I made the Minskin Boo deck because I got that card. And I'm like, I love Minskin Boo. I love Baldur's Gate. And I'm like, just going to take all these cool red and green cards that I've been meaning to play. I wanted to make a +1/+1 counters deck. So I just grabbed all the random cards I had sitting on my desk for this purpose. And
hey, it worked.
It just happened to be the dumbest card you've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. Well, do you know what's interesting? Because I've come back and I haven't tidied my desk or anything. So like, I actually was looking at what cards I have on my desk. I had like a playset of Deathmark for some reason. I think it's because I was building.
Stay close to the microphone.
I was building a deck, and it can only have creatures which have either one eye or one prominent eye. So it's like Cyclopses. It's I'm just going through some of the things, Homunculi and things funny. Like that. I've got like a scarred puma because it's only got one eye technically. So I actually have genuinely a random load of crap on my desk. This is like a bracket one commander deck. So yeah, I've got that. I also have some like old lands or
like my deck right now. It's got a bunch of random. It's got like 3 or 4 decks that I've been meaning to build for 15 years and just haven't. Like this Kiora Sea Monsters deck I've been working on, this like random black, red, I don't know, just other crap that just, I mean, look, I open cards, I'm like, wow, that's neat. Like the amount of crap that I just randomly open and just end up shoving away somewhere, and it's like, bro, that's like a $1,500 card. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'll put it away. I guess I should put it
You're the check your bulk, but you're the person who needs to check.
I am like literally when they're like, check your bulk, and I open my bulk and I find 4 fatal pushes. It's like, what am I doing?
But you know that moment when you like look at that and you're like, oh, no way I found it. I never have that because all my cards are sorted. So it's like if I check my bulk, I will find the commons and uncommons from that set that they're in. Like I won't find like some kind of like, whoa, there's my one ring or something like that.
But the annoying thing is, it's not even like I'm always just angry. Because I'm like, this is not the axe I'm looking for. This is a stupid one ring. What am I going to do with a one ring? It's so funny. It's so funny. Dude, but this has been a blast. And meeting you guys was absolutely lovely. I had a grand old time. And I look forward to seeing your episode and checking out more content. This was really, I mean, I really, all shout out to Danny for putting us together and hooking me up. Like it's so cool to make new friends. And that is one of my favorite things about Magic and MagicCons is being able to be like, oh, these are cool people. And now we can just hang out next time we're somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It has been fun because it's been quite nice. I feel like we've got to know each other a bit better. We spent a lot of it talking around like what's on our mind and stuff, and then a little bit in the end about the cards you played against me in the game, which will be coming out soon.
Look, man, I call this show Casual Magic, not because it's about it's about like low powered, relaxed magic, but because it's casually about magic. Magic is just the framework that brings us together, and it gives us the introductory knock in which to have a conversation. And then we're just two people who are like, oh, we share this thing in common. Let's just have a fun talk. Like I had John from the Mountain Goats on very early on in my time. And we spent like 15 minutes talking about his Demir Mildex or whatever, some crazy pile on Arena. And then the rest of the time about his time as a Hare Krishna in the 80s. And I was like, that's a far more interesting conversation to me. Or like, whenever I talk to people on here, and I get to talk to them about just who they are, what we are, what are we doing. Like the game is what brings us together, but it is not the thing that defines us. And I think like if anything I've gotten from this show over the years is that it is so worth your time to discover what else you are behind that hand of cards that's sitting on the other side of the table. Because that's just like, that's where the real entertainment for me comes from.
And this and that is beautiful. And this is when I tell everyone that I'm an Azorius hard control player, and they all hate me. So no, I just wanted to say that thank you very much for having me on. It really has been fun, and it's really nice to get to know you. I feel like we can have some great conversations in the future offline as well. And
I will say this for a second before we get into that part. Do you know my origin story in Magic?
I think I heard it on another podcast. Is it Harold's Horn or something? Please tell it again. Don't let me waste too much time.
But the funny thing is, like, you've seen me play. I am very much a red green turn things sideways pile a bunch of creatures on. When I started playing and I heard I saw my friend throw a fireball at a dragon, and I'm like, I need to know what's going on. And they explain it to me, and I look down and I see that the dragon is named Shivan Dragon, and they spelled my name wrong, and I was just livid. And I was like, "What is the opposite of red?" And they're like, "White blue." I'm like, "Great, I'm white blue. Here's $20. Give me a deck." And he built me a deck of like white blue control with like Mahmoudi Jinn, Sarah Angels, and everything. And I played like white blue green control for like a long time, and I'm like, I am the noddest control deck of all time. What the hell am I doing? But I was so stubbornly upset about this stupid little thing that I refused to allow myself to play the decks I care about. So when you're like, I'm an Azorius control player, I'm like, yeah, I thought I was for a long time. Yeah. It's just so funny.
I love the fact that you're thinking, don't worry, you might come around still. Like that's the thing. I sort of have two modes. I think I like fair decks at opposite ends of the spectrum. So I like I could play like a white Wheaties deck type thing where it's all like a humans deck or something like that. I'm very happy playing like a monocolored aggro deck. But right on the other side, I like that like hard control. But I tend not to play much middle of the road grindy stuff. It's either all out or I'm island passing, you know, that's like sort of like my style. I thought I'd get it in there because we've talked so like, and we finally in the last bit we get an idea of what we play. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and I hope people enjoy the episode because I certainly did. And,
so tell people where they can find you.
So we are on YouTube, Chad Magic. We're also on Instagram, chad.magic, but YouTube's the main one. Do you know what? We dropped a video yesterday playing some homebrews. I played one of my favorite decks because one of my favorite kindred types is birds, and I played my Azorius Flyers deck. And we've got some other great creators. One of them's on Adea, the Final Fantasy one that steals your stuff. We've also got Thrun. So if you like puns, we make a ton of Thrun puns throughout it. So I'd say give us a try, see if you like the episode. If it's not for you, that's okay. But you know, you can see if you like it.
Thank you so much. And as always, my friends, you can find me at Blue Sky at Shivam Bhatt. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, or at YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on the Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic podcast or the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.